So I'm doing category project number 2 for this assignment, and I've decided to talk about the show Modern Family, which is an ABC show. And it discusses topics such as gay marriage, divorce, same-sex attraction, marital disputes, family problems, and social problems, things that affect our everyday world, but that may not necessarily go along with the standards of the church. And I want to talk to other students about how they feel about it, if it lives up to their standards, if they feel like it agrees with the 13 Article of Faith or not. And my personal opinion is that it is one of the better shows out there. It does discuss topics that may be uncomfortable for some people, and topics that are that don't agree with our church, such as same-sex marriage or divorce. And there are sexual innuendos and sometimes mildly inappropriate language. But for the most part, the show covers topics that are good for people to understand. Because we have to live in the world but not of the world, we need to understand what is going on. And completely shutting yourself off towards that actually has negative effects. And so, Modern Family provides ways it gives kind of a family solution. Like, they have such a focus on the family, which is different for most shows nowadays, and it does discuss 3 different family situations that we are involved with and see all the time. And it shows ways to deal with family disputes for her siblings, sibling and parent relationships, spouse relationships, and just how they interact with the outside world. And so my personal belief is that it is an uplifting show, and that as long as you use your own personal judgment, it can actually provide you with some life lessons. And so I do encourage other people to watch it. It's also incredibly entertaining, which is nice. And so now I'm going to go talk to some students and find out how they feel about it. Okay, so this is Elizabeth Sweeney. She's a freshman studying exercise physiology. And Elizabeth, I wanted to ask you if you think Modern Family goes along with the values of the 13 Article of Faith, and if you feel that it goes against your personal standards.
Well, I really like the show Modern Family because it really teaches the overall message of Modern Family is united as a family. It's a whole family. They have different morals, but in the end, at the end of every single day, at the end of every show, it shows them all united together. Even if there's a problem, they will always be together and they love each other. And I don't see that as a conflicting the 13 Article of Faith at all. But
does the gay marriage bother you at all? The relationship that's shown as such a normal part of life, does it offend you?
It doesn't offend me. I mean, sorry. But everyone has their own judgment about it, but it doesn't bother me.
Do you feel like it lowers your standards at all?
No.
It doesn't affect you negatively?
No. It's literally my favorite show. It's one of the better shows that I have seen. So.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so this is Damian Howard. He's a sophomore studying exercise physiology, and I'm going to ask Damian right now how he feels about the show Modern Family and if it conflicts with the values presented in the 13 Article of Faith.
In my opinion, I am not a fan of this show. I've watched it just 1 or 2 times, and just the values and the things that's portrayed in it just don't go along with the things taught in the church. I guess the thing that bothered me the most were the 2 gay parents. Of course, the church is not one for supporting gay marriages, and so just having a show that portrays that as being normal or accepted in society, I just didn't like that, because people watching this at home, their families, their kids, thinking that gay marriage is okay and that it can happen, no big deal. Something else that bothered me, I guess, was just how I guess some of the people dressed in the movie. One of the female characters, she just didn't dress very modestly, and I was not a fan of that. So.
Okay. Is there anything else? So do you feel that watching that show takes the spirit away?
Yes. The 13 article of faith says that we need to seek after things that uplift us, that are virtuous and of good report. And I don't recall seeing anything in that show that did any of these things.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is Sarah Duffy. She's a junior studying film, and I'm going to ask Sarah right now how she feels about the show Modern Family and if it conflicts with the values presented in the 13 Article of Faith.
I personally, I love the show. I think it's hilarious. As it reflects the 13th article, I think that out of all the other shows that they're airing nowadays, it's one of the more cleaner ones. There's not so much violence, not so much drug use or profanity, things like that. I think that it portrays society as it's becoming now. It is called Modern Family for a reason. I think that there are more families. They're the nuclear family. They're the families that have step-parents, families who a much older man is married to a beautiful younger woman, and then there's the gay family. I personally, I have no problems towards gay people. A lot of my close friends are gay. I know that the church recognizes them, and we have been advised to love them and accept them, or not really accept them, but to love them and show that we love them and that we don't have to adopt their ways and we don't have to live our lives like they do. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you feel like there's anything people can gain from this show, like actually learn from it?
I think a lot of times, because the show is humorous and it's supposed to make you laugh, it doesn't always give you a realistic view of what a modern family would be, such as the parents dealing with the children and the way they resolve some of their children's issues. I think a lot of the times, like, the things that the dad would have said when they're interviewing the dad, and he's hysterical, but I think that's part of the show. I don't know if I would do the same thing with my kids. I wouldn't be a strict parent either, I don't think. But I think it does show with Phil and his family and his children. Their kids are very smart. They're very clean kids. They're very driven children. One of them is she's very studious. All she thinks about is studying. And I think that if society watches that, then maybe we'll adopt those habits and want to be more like them. So I think that with the gay family too, the two gentlemen, I think that if you're against gay marriage and you wanted to learn more about it, maybe if you watch the show, you could see what it's actually like. You don't have to accept it, but I think it is good to keep an open mind on things like that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, so after getting some feedback from my roommates, as you can see, or not my roommates, but some friends, I've thought more about what they said, and as I analyzed the show, watching the show with the values of the 13 Article of Faith like in front of me, I really still do feel that it is an uplifting show. I think it is one, especially right now, that is like acceptable for families to watch and to watch together. And I think what my friend Sarah said is correct, is that the world is progressing, and even though the church may not agree with that or the standards that that they're portraying, it's still happening, and we need to be able to understand it and know about what's happening and still be a part of it while not being in it, if that makes sense. In the sense that we need to understand gay marriage, we need to love those people, and we need to understand that families argue, and that, there are different ethnicities and people of different ages and sizes that get married, and we need to be able to be okay with that and to accept that in our everyday lives. And I think it also comes down to agency. God gave us the choice to choose, and every day we make decisions, and whether we watch that show or not, I think you have to know your personal boundaries and like whether that is going to have a negative effect on you or not, and whether it's gonna uplift you or if it's gonna inhibit you and make you think badly or want to do bad things. So I really think that that is important, and that we do have standards in this church and in our lives for a reason, and that we need to know ourselves and our relationship with Heavenly Father well enough to be able to understand when it's too much and when it's okay. So thanks, and I hope you enjoyed the video.